Fighting as a sport is one of the newest and yet the oldest sport in the world. Fighting is in our DNA, in our nature, and ever since humans have been humans, fighting has taken place and people have enjoyed conflict and seen other human beings fight. However, the sport of MMA, or Ultimate Fighting Championship, did not come to exist until 1993. This has given the UFC many advantages. For example, helping them stand out by creating new rules and making a sport that is more entertaining than boxing for a lot of people. Or taking inspiration from fake fighting, professional wrestling, and matching their show style and their successful ways of promoting to the point they are now joined in a company together known as TKO Holdings. But perhaps the biggest inspiration from professional wrestling is how often issues with the term fighter pay are brought up. Professional wrestling, and WWE specifically, are well known for underpaying their professional wrestlers, and the UFC is well known for underpaying the professional wrestlers. However, since they are the only serious game in town, they essentially hold a monopoly over the sport. Meaning the young guys will always be happy with what they're getting paid because they can't get their money anywhere else. But the top fighters, even though they're getting paid more money, they often have more issues with how much they're getting paid. Here's the list of the top 10 highest paid UFC fighters in 2023. Ironically enough to what I just said, number 10 is Dustin Poirier. The Diamond often shuts down questions when asked about fighter pay.
In mixed martial arts, fans and stuff are so concerned with fighters' money and contract. There's so much money counting that doesn't matter. You know, just watch the fight or don't watch the fight. I'm gonna fight if it works out for me. If I don't like the contract, if things don't make sense, then I won't fight. It's simple. None of that matters. We're fighting, you know?
For Dustin Poirier, that number is $1.9 million. In fact, Poirier has gone as far as going into verbal fights with interviewees.
Listen, Ariel, I'm not asking you how much ESPN pays you.
So obviously, I was not excited to reach out to Dustin Poirier. As we all know, Dustin Poirier only stepped in the octagon in 2023 once to fight in UFC 291. It was a showdown for the second fight ever for the BMF title, receiving $1.9 million considering the cage entrance and forced sponsorship that they have to pay fighters, plus a pay-per-view broadcast. Number 9, Leon Edwards. Next up is the undisputed and fully established Jamaican champion, Leon Edwards. Also known as the Jamaican British Rocky. His name wasn't a household name until bringing down to his knees to Kamaru Usman with a leg kick knockout. And even though very quiet and modest, he lets the fighting do the talking. And he got all the way to the top, relatively low profile, and shut down the best fighter at the time, Kamaru Usman. Leon Edwards fought twice, on March the 18th and on December 16th. For the victory against the Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards got paid $1.3 million. And for the opportunity to tame humble chaos in Colby Covington, he got paid $1,042,000. Not bad for the division king, right? Number 8, Khamzat Chimaev. Next up is one of the most promising and rapidly growing fighters who has huge potential in the next few years in the strongest league and in multiple weight classes. Currently he's in a 13-fight win streak, and 7 of those in the UFC. And he also has secured a victory over the former world heavyweight champion Kamaru Usman in the heart of the Arab Emirates, in the co-main event of the 294th pay-per-view card, UFC 294. By that time, the prospect was already considered a bona fide superstar, and his special treatment against Usman was knocking him out, making him $2,850,000 in the process. Quite decent considering he only got in the octagon once. Number 7, Justin Gaethje. To match the overall pay of the Turkish Wolf, the highlight of the lightweight division had to step in the ring twice. On UFC 286, faced Azerbaijani Adesanya. For this fight, Justin Gaethje got $1.2 million. And of course, his second appearance took place in late July for UFC 291, facing the earlier mentioned Dustin Poirier, for the highlight of rearranging the Diamond's jaw with a head kick. For this knockout, Gaethje got paid $1.7 million. Number 6, Alex Pereira, perhaps one of the cheapest guys in the UFC.
Ô pai, me dá R$50.
R$40? Pra que você quer R$30? Se 20 já tá bom. Eu vou te dar 10 e você dá 5 pro seu irmão.
The 36-year-old Brazilian fighter currently oversees the light heavyweight division. He has already improved his well-being and saved enough for his family future in only 2 years in the UFC. Thanks to his kickboxing legacy and his feud with Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira quickly climbed to the top of the division to fight Israel Adesanya. However, in this video, we're only summing up 2023. In April, he entered to defend his middleweight title, earning $1.2 million. And on July the 29th, the Brazilian aimed against Jan Blachowicz, and this victory gave him $810,000. And in December, just to get a little extra money for Christmas gift, Alex Pereira got into the octagon once again to knock the Czech Samurai and claiming his championship in the light heavyweight division, taking home $1,380,000, totaling $3,390,000. Number 5, Kamaru Usman. Despite being in the wrong end of the fight for 3 times in a row, the toughest fighter in the world, number 1 pound for pound, saw a decline by getting knocked down 3 times in 3 fights. However, this doesn't mean that this affected his bank account all that much. His star power still held him up for $4 million in 3 fights. And even though, yeah, in 2023 was not what he expected, if he invests his money wisely, he will never need to get in the octagon ever again. However, we all know he wants to. His fight against Leon Edwards, even though he lost, it made him $1.6 million. And a short notice, spontaneous appearance in UFC 294 brought him $2.4 million, giving him $4 million for just stepping into that octagon.
You become a champion, you're not just a fighter, you're a business partner, and business has been good.
Number 4, Islam Makhachev. Next, we have the Dagestani destroyer, who successfully picked up the mantle left by the Eagle and continued his absolute dominance in the lightweight division. He managed to grace the octagons twice in 2023, and on both opportunities, uncompromising fight against Alexander Volkanovski. The first fight got him $1.1 million, winning by decision. And then in an unexpected rematch that only lasted 3 minutes, he earned $4,200,000, establishing himself as the top dog in the division. Kamaru Usman spoke the truth. No matter how you become a champion, once you turn it and firmly establish yourself at the elite position, your life changes in the most radical way. Number 3, Alexander Volkanovski. We just mentioned Alexander the Great, and now it's his turn to make the list at number 3. Yes, despite again not the most successful year in the UFC and losing both of his fights, he still made more money than 99% of the fighters. After his 4th defense in the UFC featherweight division, he decided to take on a new challenge, facing the young and newly crowned beast, who had only suffered 1 defeat in his entire career. Alexander's unsuccessful foray into the lightweight division brought him a cool $1,800,000. Brought him a cool $1,080,000. Even though not successful, he was financially successful. However, after that, he redeemed himself with an impressive knockout victory over Yair El Pantera Rodriguez and got $1,850,000 for that knockout. And he managed to get his thickest check yet in October, fighting in UFC 294 for getting knocked out in 3 minutes from Makhachev. He received $3.3 million. Number 2, Israel Adesanya. Even though he only got in the octagon once this year, the last stylebender has often been in good standing with the UFC because he consistently keeps bringing in substantial revenue every single time he steps in that octagon. And believe me, he takes his rightful piece of the pie. The New Zealander broke into the top of the league and stayed there for a long time. But more than anything, he is an awesome entertainer, which the UFC needs so much. Comparing Adesanya's legacy before and Alex Pereira is usually what you see people do. The only man that has been able to defeat Israel Adesanya in kickboxing was Alex Pereira, and he came to his weight class and fought him. And in 2022, Pereira beat Israel Adesanya. However, in 2023, Adesanya finally avenged his loss. in UFC 287, and along with it became richer by $3.7 million. First and only defense he had after regaining the belt was against Shane Strickland, losing the fight on September 10th at the main event of UFC 293. However, he did walk out with another $3,200,000. And apparently that's why the last stylebender has decided to not step in the ring in 2024, and now he will only have a fight in 2025, which makes complete sense because he can afford it. And number one, Jon Jones.
Me and my brother combined don't make more than what Jon Jones makes. So
that statement from Dana, even though it was 7 years ago, it still holds true. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video? You realize the higher you pay, you realize that you're getting underpaid and undercut, just like it is at the WWE. But there's only one game in town, so there's nothing you can say about it. Well, this is the main person that I mean. Him and Francis Ngannou have always been very vocal about not getting paid enough money compared to boxers, for example. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, who is an MMA fighter that has dabbled into boxing, they both make around $100 million per fight. However, still clocking in an impressive $7 million for just negotiating, that's something special. He only had one fight, got paid $7 million. Everybody else had multiple fights and got paid less than him. And just to clear things up, the reason Conor McGregor is not in this list is because Conor McGregor has not fought in 2023 and he's off the radar and has been out of the USADA drug testing pool for a little bit now. Now, rumors of him coming back for UFC 200 have been swirling around, so this could change in 2024. I guess we can only wait and see. Jon Jones took a 3-year hiatus, and during this period it was a cold information war between him and the UFC management over insufficient pay. And it's one thing when young prospects that are coming from a poor country complain about fighter pay, but it's something completely different when the guy on top is the one doing the complaining. But anyways, after 3 years, the legendary fighter returned to the octagon to make his heavyweight debut, and on March the 4th in UFC 285, Sonny Bone Jones sensationally choked out Cyril Gane with a guillotine in 124 seconds. And for this lone performance, like I said, he got paid $7 million. Remember, this solely concerns the fighter's cage entry and performance. And the comeback was an absolute success, no doubt. However, I did mention professional wrestling throughout this video and how they're severely underpaid. If you thought UFC fighters were underpaid, because wait till you hear how much WWE fighters get paid. So go click on that video right there and find out. I'll see you in that video. See ya!
I went back to Nigeria, back to the motherland. It probably cost me about 12K, 15, 150.